Hey folks, I'm the Amazing Vito. I'm talking to Patrick Close. I'm sorry, we're 10 minutes late. It's just we're having technical difficulty. He's at I believe is at the Spectrum, and I'm stuck in my basement. So if he told me, I would have been at the Bell Center. No, not the Bell Center, Scotiabank, and he's wearing his what year Philadelphia is that jersey?
It's a Winter Classic jersey, their first one from 2009 when they played Boston. They played the Bruins this year.
Did they win?
No, they didn't. They lost at home.
Well, I think.
Oh, excuse me. They weren't at home. They were in Boston. They lost at home the second time.
Right. So if I knew, man, I would have. Anyways, I would have had a cooler background. But anytime why the sound was screwed up was I've been trying. A buddy's been trying to show me. It's called OBS or something to help.
Yeah.
Right. So he was showing me that, and I think him showing me the settings. I must have touched something with the settings, and me being
it happens all the time. I can't tell you how many stories of how many technical difficulties we had when I was on the air. It's crazy.
Well, so you would have them, and you're like a professional.
Yeah. Well, it happens. It happens all the time. But you gotta MacGyver around them. It's how fast you can get them done and back up and moving. When you're doing live broadcast and radio, it's tough. It happens all the time.
Like, I'm not a MacGyver. You saw me a second ago. I was crying.
Right.
Took off my clothes.
Yeah. Well, I'm still baffled about that one, but
yeah, you're like, why are you naked? And I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Okay. So, yeah. Anyways, I know that I need a better light than that. That is absolutely awful. So, yeah, you look professional. You always look great.
Yeah, I look horrible.
I mean, it looks, and what's how the world is coming together. When a Maple Leaf can talk to a Flyer and not swear, then we are, as a culture, moving forward. I'm going to move mine back a little bit because.
Oh, it would have been great. Whose jersey are you wearing? Any particular name or?
Well, no particular name.
It would have been great if you had a Potvin jersey on and I had a Hex Doll jersey on.
Oh, that would have been great.
I'd say let's meet you halfway down the ice or fully down the ice because I was at that game.
Were you really?
I was at that game. I should have pulled up there. I got the ticket stubs. I was actually in the club box seats. I got stats from halftime, and I was with a buddy of mine, Brian. And his brother took us to the game, and he's like, "Come on, let's go." And there was already like 3 fights that game. He's like, "No, we're not going anywhere. We're staying right here." And lo and behold, at the end of the game, the bench clear, and you see the 2 goalies come down.
Wasn't that? I wish we could show
it was awesome.
Right? If I knew how to do technology, that would be amazing because I would show that what happened. What happened to that? Hex Doll was known as. Now he's got a job. He's like the boss in Pittsburgh, and he hired Brian Burke. I don't know, the GM, or I think Hextall's the GM, and Burke is underneath him or whatever. But anyways, Hextall at one time, he reminded me. See, my favorite goalie when I was this is how old I am, was Potvin. Not Potvin. I'm sorry, Palmateer, Mike Palmateer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Mike Palmateer, I mean, if you look at the old goalie masks, you're like, oh, God. I was just watching old Maple Leaf games, the good old days, when Sittler got his 10-point night. But the goalies back then, they were small guys. They weren't big dudes, right?
No, they were small. You got to be quick and agile.
Yeah, and Billy Smith was one of my favorite goalies because he was a great goalie. For the Islanders, but he was one of the most vicious dudes. If you got anywhere near him,
hacking away,
he'd break your ankle. So that's not nice. But when you're a kid, you're like, this guy's nuts. There's a famous story with him where before a game, you're all psyched out, like you're all like these guys are so serious, like their mind is someplace else.
Right.
And a New York Islanders player's wife went up behind him and just tapped him to say, like, have a good game. And he was in the zone, and he turned around and with his stick hit her like he wasn't even thinking, like hit her.
Well,
He apologized after, but his mind was someplace else. Uh, like never go up. Like I understand, like don't go up to a player or when they're really concentrating on stuff. I see it all the time. Some comics you can't talk to before they go on stage because they're focusing in on stuff, and other comics are just uh, laughing their brains out, and then they hear their name, they're like, "Hey, I'll be back in a minute," and it's just I find that hilarious. So, anyways, yeah, that game with Potvin and Hex Doll. Hex Doll is known as he's a big dude, and he's fought guys. And Potvin he's not the biggest. He was not a big dude, and when it's like a brotherhood. When guys are fighting, you're even if you're gonna get if you're gonna get your head kicked in, at least you're gonna have your guys are gonna sit there and have more respect for you.
Yeah.
As sad as that sounds, it's true. It's true. It's just they go. We could depend on him because when the going gets tough, he doesn't sit there like a baby. Right. So, anyways, Hex Doll, remember the fight? He's like, "Let's go," and Potvin all of a sudden started skating towards him. I remember going, "This is he's going to get his head kicked in." And
he didn't really.
No, he actually rock and rolled. It was great.
Oh yeah, it was a good scrap. It was definitely a good scrap for sure.
The good old days. You don't see that anymore, where goalies are, and that's see for me. I thought the States was gonna love hockey because of the hitting, the fighting. Hockey can be a very emotional thing when you're watching it. If your team's down, if the guy's giving a cheap shot, you're very invested in the game.
Oh yeah,
it's a very emotional thing.
Whether you're there or watching it on TV, even more so when you're there. And Philadelphia is known for their rowdiness crowds, which I don't like playing into that hype. But the Flyers fans are nuts. They're crazy. They get into it. They call the ref the zebra. The old school. They'll yell at the zebra. Shut up, zebra! I'm coming after you.
Yeah, Toronto made a huge mistake. The city's all about money, right? So to go see a game, it's going to cost me $500. But like when I was in my younger days, we used to get the Grays, and they were the ones way up. The nosebleeds, and we loved it, and but yeah, I would love to take my kid, but there's no way I could afford $500 a ticket,
it's crazy.
And if you watch the game and you look, you see these pockets of nobody sitting there.
Right.
To me, I find disgusting, because that should be like Billy Joel concert where he says those seats don't go to the rich guys. Those go to because I want to do a show. I don't want people sitting there like this.
Right. He noticed.
Right.
He noticed something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really to me. I love Billy Joel just for that reason. He's also a very talented man. But so I never understood why hockey never grew in the States like other sports have.
Yeah.
because I thought,
what's not to like about it? I mean, you can get into a fight with a guy and then your issues are resolved. Who doesn't like that? You want to throw down? Let's throw down. But you know what? At the end of the fight, we're gonna shake hands and we're gonna go our separate ways and we're gonna go to our little timeout box, and that's it. That's the end of it. And I might still talk trash when I get out of the box.
See, isn't that amazing though? I mean, I remember watching it when I was a kid, and I'm like, this guy just killed, these two guys killed each other, and I'm like, okay, so are the police coming? Because it was like blood coming down the side of his face, and I remember the announcer going, that was awful, that was terrible, that was absolutely disgusting, and he's going to sit in the box for 2 minutes and think about that. And I was just like, what? He just murdered the guy, you know? So I never understood. I know Philadelphia is a big hockey town, and the Islanders, of course. Hello, Mr. D'Amico and Mr. Close. Hey, nice to see you, Spooky. Very, very nice. You can contribute. I think it's only $75,000. So if you can, great. If you can't, we'll take 50. But thanks for coming along, Spooky. So, anyways, hockey, I never understood that, and I nearly got killed going shopping because when Philadelphia was playing Toronto in the playoffs, when Jeremy Roenick scored that, Roenick's a stud, but he scored a goal after Tucker absolutely murdered a guy, a player, and that whole playoff, my daughter was very young, and I am very vocal when I watch the game. I lose my, as my wife says, I lose my mind. And my dog at the time, I had a huge Rottweiler who used to watch the game with me and used to get all riled up with me. Mm-hmm. She used to get, if I yelled, she'd start barking, and the whole house. My wife was like, just trying to put the kid to sleep. And but I would sit there, and while the game was going on, I'd yell out, do you have change for, is that 1 million? I can't see. Or 100,000. Do you have change for 100,000? This sucks. I don't. That sucks. I'm sorry. I don't have change, but next time, just keep the money for now. And I know you're good for it. It's very sweet of you. Thanks, Spooky. So, in the middle of what I would do is I would yell out, you're a loser. Look at that loser. Look at that. Because I was trying my best not to swear. Right. But I would go, look at that loser. Because my wife was like, your daughter's getting old enough to understand what you're saying. So I would just go, you losers, you losers. So when we were shopping, I had my daughter up front, and she was about 2 years old, and there was a giant he's wearing his Philly jersey, and I used to be a tough guy about, I don't know, like 25 years ago, when I had muscle and I went to the gym and I looked good instead of looking like an unemployed comedian. So I'd be walking down the aisle, and my daughter goes, and this guy was huge, Patrick. This guy was huge, man. Okay. He's walking down, and my daughter goes, Daddy, a loser. And I just smile, right? And the guy, he looks over and he's like, what? Loser? Who's like loser? She's like, Daddy, look, it's that loser. It's a loser. And I go, no. She's just kidding. And I'm like, sweetie, you're going to get Daddy killed, like literally killed. So, it just shows you the emotion. We got in the car, and my wife's like, do you like yelling now? Do you like yelling at the TV? Because nobody could hear you, and except for your family. And I was like, So, anyways, that was you're very lucky. I went to the Boston game the ex that bought me this, it was very sweet of her to do that. She got me this, and she took me to a Boston Bruin game, which if you're a Leaf, the Bruins are your mortal enemy.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a call that went wrong, like it was just a bad call, and it pretty much cost Toronto the game. And before the game, they gave everybody these rolled up, I guess, posters. I didn't open it, but it was just like, I guess they were like rolled up posters, and it was the coolest thing in the world because all of a sudden you just saw when the call. It was like this beautiful moment of these things flying in the air, going on the ice.
Nice.
Just you had like 18,000 people just throw their posters on the ice because they were like, they're pretty upset that their team was being screwed.
Right.
I'll never forget that. I still like you. I still have the ticket stub to that game. Even no, they ended up. I think they went to overtime, but I still hold on to the stubs and stuff just for memories.
I try to. I lost a bunch of mine. I brought them over to my friend's house one day. I was just showing them around. So yeah, check out this out. It was like Phillies tickets from like the 80s, all the way up until probably like early 2000s. Yeah, because we were like in high school. But anyway, I lost probably all them tickets from 2002 to like 85. When I first started going to games, baseball games, a lot of baseball games. I didn't start going to hockey games until later. Nobody would take me. Nobody had any interest in them. So I saw.
How much are the tickets usually? Like, how much did they
now? In like the last few years, I've been trying to get. I've sat front row, second row, all the way up top. Here's my thing. I either be on a sit first row so I can see everything, or I want to sit first row, second level, or last row, second level, so I can stand. I don't like anything in my view. So if there's something in my view, I get like, I got to see it because I like following the play. But I've been getting tickets second row. If you scout them out and you do your homework, you can get them for like $80 for second row. I've gotten tickets for.
Oh, wow.
The lowest I paid was like $68. And that was for a single ticket. I went by myself. People are like, go to a Flyers game by yourself. I'm like, dude, there's 19,000 Flyers fans there. What do you mean by myself? You don't know how to talk to people,
Yeah.
So you talk to people, you have a good time.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good because.
But on the average, it's about 130. If you're going to go look up online, you're looking at about 130 lower level for one ticket. So
that's actually very good, man.
I know.
I really want to take my son to a game because going to a game, first of all, to get there, it would take me 2.5 hours to get there, right?
Yeah.
Then parking.
Oh yeah, you get beat over the head right there.
Right then and there, I get nailed for parking, right? And it's like $30-$40. Okay,
it's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and then, but see, this is what the beauty of the first time I went to the Gardens, when you walk in there and you see how, like, when you go through and you see the stadium, it is just this magical, and then you're like, wow, this is this is amazing. And then when it's packed and people are going crazy, it's just it's the best. It's tribalism. We are all tribes. Like we this is our team. We fight for them. Which I never understood people that like they're like, hey man, I enjoy the Denver Broncos, and I met a guy here, and he's like, I follow every game, and I'm like, have you ever been to Denver? No. Do you know anybody from Denver? No. And I'm like, well, why do you like the Denver Broncos? He goes, my team. I just like the Denver Broncos. So I always found that weird that you would, like, for me, like, Toronto's my team because I grew up in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not, I'm not a Montreal Canadiens fan because, again, we cannot stand each other. So there is that uh, tribalism, which sports is. Like, remember football when guys would crack each other and they would never help each other up before?
Yeah.
And now they would help. They would, brush your teeth, wipe your butt. Yeah. Are you okay? I didn't hit you too hard, did I? I mean, back then it was the 70s.
Yeah.
70s.
Yeah.
And you remember how it was brutal.
Well, they don't have, what they don't have anymore is the NFL's greatest hits. Do you remember watching VHSs of NFL's greatest hits, biggest hits? They don't advertise that anymore. Yeah. They don't have the hit because they want the less hits. They don't want hits in football. They don't want it. They want offense. That's what they want. They want offense.
You know what it is?
And don't touch certain people on the field. Don't touch the kicker. What are you doing? There's a flag. Don't hit a guy. What are you playing? Soccer?
Yeah. Yeah. And to me, I find that how. See, I was a huge boxing fan, and I would watch old. Now I watch old boxing. I love Marvin Hagler, and I grew up in that era. And then I watched that movie where it was Concussion, and it was showing like how guys were getting concussed, how football players were getting concussed, and there was a famous hockey player that I forget his name, but they wrote a song about him, and Red Kelly would always give the guy money, and he won like 5 Stanley Cups. This guy, and he was begging, on the side of the road, selling broken hockey sticks to anybody that would buy it. Now that is brutal, but yeah, I think people now are very worried. Like when I watch a hit, I'm not a huge football fan, but I watched the Super Bowl this year just because I wanted Brady to win. I know that annoys a lot of people, but I'm an old guy, and I wanted the old guy to win, right? So that was why I watched it. I wanted to, because everybody was talking about how he was going to get slaughtered, and Mahomes was going to win it all and make him look stupid, and I was just sitting there with a big grin on my face, just going, I wish I put money on this, like this was awesome, like it was just he played a beautiful game, but yeah, the hitting, there used to be a thing, Don Cherry, before he got fired. Do you remember Don Cherry?
Well, no. I've seen.
Okay, he got fired. He used to be the head coach of the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he moved into broadcasting. And in Canada, there used to be a show called Hockey Night in Canada that played for years.
Yeah.
Okay, and it used to be this thing called Coach's Corner, where him and Ron McLean would talk about what went on, and and Don Cherry was always the guy saying, okay, if you're a cheap shot artist and you hit my top guy, you're going to get your head kicked in, okay? Because you have to learn that you cannot go around hit superstars, okay? Because the Gretzky's and top players are protected. The reason why Gretzky was so great and why he could do what he could do, there was a guy named Dave Semenko that made sure that if anybody was to take a cheap shot and hit Gretzky, or they would have to deal with big Dave Semenko. Okay?
Dave's a killer.
Oh, God, slap shot. We should watch that. Man, that was an awesome movie.
We're all there.
Yeah, they brought their toys.
Yeah.
So hey, anyways, they took away Rock'em Sock'em Hockey, which was a big. It would show the fights every year. So, and that was a huge seller. And at Christmas time, you would, for my stocking, I would get Rock'em Sock'em Hockey, and you would sit there with your buddies and go, oh wow! Like you would watch these fights. And the problem was, Patrick, that a lot of the fights like Probert, Belak, Stu Grimson, all these top guys have all passed.
Yeah.
At a young age, and they say it's because of, the beating. Do you have my coffee?
Yes, have some.
Hey, can you turn on one of them lights there? I look like I'm Cuban. I'm just too spooky. Do I look too... There, is that better?
A little better.
Now I look like a ghost. Okay, don't break it, man. No, one more. There we go. All right.
Okay, at the intern.
There we go. All right, one more. That's it. Just turn one more.
They're all on now.
Okay, good. All right, that's good. All right, thank you. Anyways, look, that's Patrick. She's not going to show her because she's not wearing makeup, and she's it's my partner. I call my wife, John. Come say hi. No, I just named him not John. I'm just being a jerk. So, thank you. She puts up with me. So, Spooky, you married? At least we got Spooky. I don't know. He's probably sleeping or something. It'd be awesome if he did give us 100,000. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Great.
I'd split it with you, but it would be, you would pull one of these stunts on me, go, Vito, it's Canadian, so, you got to add see? Pasty, yeah, you look better with the lights. Thanks, man. See, I know, I need better lighting.
That's the first time probably anyone's told you that.
No,
I get the opposite. Turn the lights out. They look better with the lights out.
I am a handsome man. No, not married. Well, one day, Spooky, you will get. If you ever see my video, there's a video where I call it the evil app. Watch that. It'll explain why you shouldn't get married. So enjoy your time alone. So, anyways. Back to don't be alone. Find somebody, So, okay. So, I'm sorry going off on a tangent there. If I talk too much, Patrick, you just say, Vito, this is not your show. This is my show. So
it's your show.
Oh, it is my show. Okay, so all right. So you're right. All right. So, just a stat from football. Okay. It was the lowest watched Super Bowl in 52 years. It was 1969, the lowest, and this was lower than 1969. And I just want to add that there's 10 times more people now than there were in 1969.
Yeah.
Right?
Here's what I think it is.
What do you think?
They're counting TV sets. So now they're counting, I guess they're going to count TV sets. So, and bars didn't go out and turn on all their TVs. Not a lot of people had big parties, and now you're getting like 5 or 6 per TV. So that counts as one rating, but you still have an audience there that might not be at their house watching. So now you're getting clusters of 5 and 6 clustering together at somebody's house. Not too many people. And bars usually have like 60 TVs going at once. All those bars didn't have TVs. So they really can't tell how many people watch. They can only tell what the ratings were through through cable. And I think there was a lot more people watching than what they said.
Well, the Nielsen ratings waited 2 days before they released their stats.
Yeah.
Now, I've been watching a few videos where people that follow sports, and they're just saying that people they're sick and tired of the politics.
That too.
Sports.
That
So
definitely helped out.
Yeah, and to me, sports is like the movies, right? I don't care politically what your politics are. Okay, I'm there to watch your movie. If you do a radio show and it's about uh, uh, sports, okay, I just want to listen about sports. I don't want to listen about your politics.
Right.
Okay, and I think that's what has turned a lot of people off, because with the not playing the national anthem, I'm
Right.
much older than you. I would always stand. I went to a Catholic school, so we would always stand for the national anthem first, and then we stand for the Lord's Prayer.
Right.
Okay, so that I don't expect sports to do the Lord's Prayer or anything like that, but I do expect that you're playing a game. You're getting paid a lot of money to play a game. Okay, the least that you can do is stand for the national anthem, just to show respect for the men and women that got butchered to give you freedom. That's the point. And I think that how easily we forget. My son asked, why did they stand when he was very little? And I explained, it's respect. It's just to show that, these guys, they're playing a game. It's a hard game. Okay. Yeah. It's not easy. People go, hey man, they're playing a game. Hey man, if you're not playing to the level that you're not, you saw Tortorella bench a top player last night, a guy that, what is he? It's paid like $10 million a year, and he benches him the whole last period just to let him know that
I like him as a coach.
I do too. I'm a big Tortorella fan. People say his style is old school, and I think old school sometimes is good. Okay, and I believe what is said in the locker room stays in the locker room. If I have a private conversation with you, and it's about our business, then that stays in the locker room. Like that stays between us.
Right.
You talking to everybody about it. Hey, Vito did this, and he threw this on the floor, and he had his little conniption, and what was the point of that?
Right.
So I think the with the pandemic, with people staying at home, I would have thought more people would have watched sports. I know basketball. I don't watch basketball, so I know their ratings are down. I don't know baseball. I rather watch paint dry than I'm not into it. So I don't know what their ratings are, but I read a couple of articles where the ratings are down because people are just, sick and tired of this, politics. Like just play the game, man.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I know definitely myself. I didn't watch as much football this year at all. I just stopped caring about it. I guess it kind of gets ruined after a while. Things start losing.
It's luster.
It's luster. Their feel to it. It's like, I kind of want to watch this to get away from it. Now I can't escape from what I'm trying to escape from because it's everywhere. Like you said, I agree.
Do you know one of the most powerful things I ever watched? And again, I'm not the biggest football fan, but I remember when 9/11 happened. Okay, and I remember they just started playing. It was the first game, and it was a huge Kansas City Chief player. This guy was, I forget his name, but he was like 6'5", 380 pounds of muscle. This big black dude. and they were playing the national anthem, and he had tears running down the side of his face, and it was very, it makes me a little emotional when I think about it, but it was just to show that, you know, you know, people have been, you know, the hell that took place a month earlier, uh, that was horrible, but you know, we're playing a game, we're playing the anthem, and hopefully we get back to normal. And you know, it's like going to a funeral. For the first couple of weeks, you don't want to do anything, but you know, after you need to move, you need to do stuff, and but you still pay respect, and there's a little ways of doing that. And I always thought that always moved me, you know. And I think now, you know, like I'm not a Colin Kaepernick fan. Okay, I have no clue. I understand he's a fourth or third string quarterback at best, and to me, it's like, dude, you need to be famous for winning games, not complaining about how crappy things are. You know, just we watch things like movies, sports, or anything, wrestling, anything. We just watch to get away. Because most people have a job they can't stand. Okay?
Yeah, right.
So they got to put food on the table, right? They just, you know, they're waiting for 7 o'clock. Like tonight, I'm waiting for my Leafs. 7 o'clock. Everybody knows Dad's going to be in his room, because nobody could be in the room with me anymore because I have quite the temper. But well, my son, when he wants to bother me, but it's my time. I don't want to hear about
anything. It's not involving sports.
Yeah, I don't. And there was a guy here, and it was kind of, I had to write it down. Where is it? I'm such a professional. But he just said that, like here, what is his name? I'm not making this up. He's like, he used to be a Pepsi on Sports, his name is, and he used to be an announcer and talk about you know, hockey. That was his thing, and it was Pepsi on Sports, 218. That was the number. Pepsi on Sports 218, and he said something that was, you know, if he worked for a network, he would have got fired, right? Because this is what he said, Patrick. He goes, up here, they just fired, they let go, Bell Media let go their sports radio in Vancouver. Like 200 jobs were lost, right? So Vancouver, Hamilton, and I forget the other city, but it was like TSN, it's like a sports center kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So all those people lost their jobs, and it was pretty vicious the way they did it. It was kind of like, I don't know if you've ever lost your job where somebody has tapped you on the shoulder and said, Patrick, you got to come, you know, the office, and you're thinking, oh, you know, what did I do? And you're told, hey man, you know, game's over. Listen, you're fired, and this security guard here is gonna help you clean out your desk. It's pretty vicious, right? So this guy Hepsi said, he goes, and I want to word it right, and I don't want to sound bad, but this is what he said. Said the jobs are gone, and they're not coming back, and the only reason, you know, like the guys on sports that they let go, the announcers, when they come, you know, whoever fills in those positions are not going to be. It's not going to be a white guy. Like that. Just
That's what he said.
That's what he said, and I watched, and he was right. It was like they had I know things change, things need to change, but when I grew up watching hockey, man, it was whiter than it was like you'd be watching snow. But now it is very, there's players of all different races.
Yeah, it's pretty diverse. I like it.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, one of my favorite players is Wayne Simmons.
Yeah, the Wayne train was in Philly. Loved him.
Yeah, he's a monster. His hand's screwed up now, and I hope he comes back soon. But he's only 180 pounds, man. But he's like a heavyweight.
Yeah. Like I interviewed him. I got to interview him.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did he talk about me?
Yeah, I was like, what are your thoughts on the Amazing Vito tonight after playing Toronto? Now, I got to interview him in Tampa when I was covering the Lightning when they came to town.
That's very cool. Yeah. But do you think that this guy is just like he said when he worked for 13 years for like Sports Center, and he just said he just sees the writing on the wall where they're getting rid of people and they're bringing in way too many politics.
Yeah. It's becoming just about everything. I mean, it's very political. It's not. I feel like it's not the best man for the job anymore. You really can't. It was like, well, even though, we got to stay politically correct here. It's like, well, then why have it? What are you doing here? Just to point everything to everybody. Let's not have a competition at all.
Yeah,
and that's like what a job is, isn't it? It's a competition.
Yes, but only. I believe that only a person. I think you should be hired on what you know about the game and what you could bring to the game, and not by
any job. Yeah, I was talking about any job, really, in any given situation, and any right,
any job, as long as you're qualified. That's all I care. Right. But if they're handing out you a job that is because of color,
right,
that is reverse racism to me.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the wrong way to go, because years from now, you give it 5 to 10 years, and it's just going to get worse. People are going to get better, angry, and it's going to be a boil over. And I don't see.
It's not a good direction to head in. I know that's for sure.
No, Patrick. I mean,
But it's the crazy part is it's like it seems like it's only happening here because of America is the melting pot. You can't have it anywhere else. You're not going down to Mexico going, look at these teams down here. No, but Mexican people on your team over here. You're not going to Italy like, hey, you got too many Italians over here on your team. It's only in America where you can point the finger and be like, blah, blah. That's not fair. There's not enough of them, or not enough women, or not enough men, or not enough this, whatever. Just people like to complain and complain. That's Vito. When I was on my radio show, I'm very calm. I used to go off because I would talk about this years ago. The name of my show is called "It's Always Something." Right. And we would talk about things like this. This is the topics we would talk about. We would talk about certain groups and their agendas and where they would wind up now, 10 years ago. What we talked about certain people of this country and the direction they wanted to take it and what was going to happen. You're going to start seeing a lot of finger pointing and blaming. Oh, it's happened. Yeah, it's happened. There's just too many groups out there now.
Well, I think here's the thing, and
I'm really being calm too, because I
don't want to put you in a position where you're not. I don't like putting people in uncomfortable positions, but
no, I just don't want people to take it the wrong way.
That's
because it's just passion. It's just passion about what you're talking about, because and there is a difference between passion and getting in somebody's face and yelling and saying you're wrong. But those are the people that I'm talking about.
But you know what's the worst, Patrick? What I hate is I have to walk on eggshells to ask you that question.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't want to offend you, and I don't want you to go, why would you? And I don't want to answer that question. So let's move on. But that is the burning question. That's, there's a reason why, uh, you know, I think people forget how beautiful the United States are. There's a lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot of morons on there. I mean, but hey, man,
It's
there's
like
there's a reason why people want to go to the United States.
yeah. And it's going to come to a boiling point to where like each group's going to be at each other, and it's just like going to go back to step one, and they're going to go, what are we doing? Why don't we just, everyone go baback to their own corner and mind their own business?
I asked the guy, it was I asked the guy, I had to go out and have a meeting with him. We were going to do a show together, and he's black, and he had this white guy that was there, and I just off the cuff, we were just talking, and I said, "Hey, man, who do you think's gonna win the big game tonight?" Just to have a little conversation. And this is what the white guy says. He goes, "I just want the world to get along." And I was like, "See, you're the reason why the world is dumb. I just asked you. I don't care about politics or anything like that. I just asked you about a game,
right?
Okay. I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you. Do you believe Jesus existed or not? I just asked you about the game. I didn't go right into politics or anything like that. Just who's gonna win, man."
Yeah.
And it's just like he's got to say that. And
personal
the reason,
agenda.
And the reason why he said that is because he's he's helping the black guy, and he's just trying to show, I'm with him. I'm sticking up for him. And I'm like, dude, he's a grown man. Mm-hmm. Like he could speak for himself. Don't worry. You don't need to speak for him, or all of a sudden, it was just odd. And I found that really stupid. And I think if you watch too much, I remember I interviewed a Jehovah's Witness girl who I was in love with. God, she was so beautiful. And she never watched TV. And I said, why don't you watch any TV, movies or anything like that? She goes, it's poison for the mind. And that is the only thing I ever agreed with her with. Because if there's so much, you could change a channel and there'll be a guy yelling about Tom Brady. How dare he win, a Super Bowl, on Black History Month? What the hell is this?
That was real. That's the sad part.
Yeah, but Patrick, who cares? Like,
aren't all Super Bowls played in Black History Month? Aren't they all played? Aren't all Super Bowls in February?
To me, all Black History Month is, okay? Black History Month is every day. You shouldn't have just 1 month of your history. Every day should be, it should be, I don't know if you're Italian History Month. You respect everybody. If you take a piece, and I understand that worked years ago, that, hey, it's Black History Month, let's remind people, let's do this, let's do that. But we don't need to do that anymore. We you're dumbing down on people.
Well, that's their plan. I mean, we can get into like that's the direction that they want the country to go. I mean, I feel that everything happens for a reason. Everything that they want to happen happens. Like, this doesn't have to happen. The only reason why it's happening is because they allowed it to happen, like everything else. It's just like anything else, I think. So there's a reason why they want chaos between everybody, so they can have more control. They just point fingers. Now they're going to go, hey, you guys settle down. Now we got to put these rules in place so everybody can keep calm.
Yeah.
They stir up the pot and then go, hey, yeah, okay. Over there, timeout for you, timeout for you. Oh, we could apply this rule now on you because you did this. Yeah. The game is dirty. Life is not fair. ever heard that saying? So
No,
anything that has anything to do with life, there's going to be corruption in it. And if you don't see that and try to depict it and ask questions on anything that's being told to you, then you could be manipulated very easily. And I feel like the people that point fingers are the most easily manipulated people.
Yeah.
Because nobody thinks outside the box anymore. Nobody goes, why are people talking about racism? Why aren't they talking about how awesome it could be? Like, here is a country that does have every nationality. And what I've experienced through life, I like to experience different nationalities, how they do things. I watch different shows. We belong to michaelfrancis.com. There's a lot of people that are intrigued with the life about the mafia. That leads down different roads for me. I went to go look up the Russian mafia, start reading about that and see how the Russian culture is, see what they like to do over there. There's so much to experience, and to have all that culture to come to America and not experience it and just trash it. It's sad to what this place really, really could be. That's what upsets me.
That's what upsets me too. I mean, it absolutely, I just think you have such a beautiful country, and the freedoms, people go, oh, we don't have any freedoms. I'm like, have you ever talked to other people from another country of what they've gone through? And when they look at, I mean, you love or hate Donald Trump, he had the highest people vote for him, Latinos, right?
Yeah.
Because they came from a country that, I mean, when I was in Cuba, I remember talking to one of the drivers there, and I go, so I'm very curious about everything, right? So I asked him about the government and everything, and he said, my friend, do you mind we don't talk about this? Because you could see the fear.
Yeah.
That he would have thought that I would have gone to like some government official saying, that guy there, he thinks this government is evil. You people are, it would cost him his life.
It'd be gone.
Yeah.
Right.
So
there is no freedom of speech in other countries like that. None.
Yeah.
It's crazy because they haven't experienced it. People don't have that experience. They only know by what they're seen and told.
Yeah. They're told, I believe that they are told to just, I looked into this and I'm like, these government people, these Democrats and Republicans, they all go to the same restaurants together.
Yeah.
Okay? But yet they want everybody to fight.
Right.
They want chaos. They want, people.
I know. It's crazy. It's like me. I don't like watching wrestling because it's so fake and set up, and that's why I don't like watching politics because it reminds me of wrestling. I mean, if politics, like I said before, if politics were so serious, why do you see memes about them all over the place? You see memes about Bernie Sanders, this guy. It's a joke. If memes are supposed to making fun of something as a joke, right? You know what you don't see memes of? Kids with cancer. You don't see memes with it because it's not a joke. It's not funny. If politics were so seriously and supposed to be taken seriously, then stop making fun of it and stop making jokes about it. Start taking it seriously and stop allowing things to happen. That's it.
Yeah. No, well said. And with again with other countries, I remember when the riots were starting. I used to be a big Formula One fan.
Right.
Beside me, I got the 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher, who is the greatest driver of all time. I care less who you think is the greatest. He is the greatest. So Senna was an amazing driver too. I'm not taking anything away from Senna. I grew up watching Senna and Mansell, and I used to be a big Formula One fan, but now it's a joke. It's the team with the most money always wins. The guys, you could put any moron there. They got one guy who's a billionaire who bought his kid a team. I mean, isn't that awesome? Daddy,
Yeah.
I want to be a Formula One driver. So his dad bought him a team so he could go around and drive around, and you get morons running up to him and going, "Could I get your autograph?" And I would run up to him going, "Could I get adopted by your daddy?" So, because I've always wanted to, drive a car, a Formula One.
Can you sign this check?
Yeah, to me, I find that disgusting. So I've lost. I can't watch Formula One anymore. But in the beginning of the season, they had the guys all kneel, and several guys did not kneel. They stood for the playing of the, like, if you're in Australia, you stand for their national anthem because you're in their country. You stand for them. So you had several guys kneel, and they asked. I remember they asked Leclerc, who's a Ferrari driver. I feel bad because he's driving the worst Ferrari ever built. Anyways, he's a great driver. Just it's a shame that Ferrari have turned into a joke. But anyways, he did not kneel, and they asked him why he didn't kneel, and he said because it's not something. He's from Monaco, and he's like, I really don't follow the American politics. That's what's going on in America with the kneeling. That's not for me. I believe a few other guys, they said the same thing, a driver from Spain, another guy from, Holland. He was just like, we just don't, like, I understand they're having a rough time over there, but I'm a Formula One driver. I'm paid to drive, and I'm standing for the national anthem. That's, to me, I don't see what the big stink was. And to me, it was like 10 years ago, if you kneel during a national anthem, you would be ridiculed, yelled at, called an idiot. But now you're hailed a hero. And then I watched a basketball player where they kneeled, and the one guy that wasn't kneeling, because he's like, I only kneel before God. That's who I kneel for. Okay. So he stood there, and people were happy when he got injured, that guy. Wow. And I just thought, how disgusting, what a disgusting display of every day I look at social media and I go, yeah, humanity just keeps going lower and lower, man.
Yeah, it's sad. It sucks. It sucks, really.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's just other countries don't sit there and they don't understand. Like, they
other countries want us to fail because we had it so good. Nobody wants us to succeed because they were like, oh my God, you could do anything you want over there.
Yeah, and people don't understand that. Right. There's I believe she's a professor, but she came from Somalia, and she's gone all over the world, and she says the United States is the most is not racist, like one of the most least racist country in the world. But if you watch the news, the United States is the most racist country in the world. How come when I was in the States working or, playing gigs, and I'd work with a black guy or whatever, and he'd show me around, and nothing like that was brought up. It was nothing like he stopped me and he said, hey man, the man is destroying me. And it was none of that. It was all about just, go do your job. Maybe, okay, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, but, my first sleepover was with a black kid, right? And we never, he was my best friend for about 5 years until I moved. But we never talked about, how bad things are or anything like that. We're just having fun. We're just and now it's instilled that, you know, hey man, you don't know how bad it is. You don't know how bad um, how evil the states and how you know, and to me it I can't believe people fall for it. Like
Yeah.
I just
It's almost like invoking it. It's like almost like a Ouija board of stupidity. You know what I mean? Like you invoke what you want to happen, and you keep talking about it enough and repeating it, and everybody starts repeating it. Next thing you know, they'll believe it. So
yeah.
the media is has a big hand in that. With anything they want you to believe, they just keep repeating it, and people, oh, okay.
And that's the thing that where I know you don't know who Gina Carano is, right? She was on a show. I didn't see this show. It was The Mandalorian, okay? And it's a Disney show,
Uh,
and she she was a very outspoken, but I saw her tweets and they weren't anything brutal. But yeah, they fired her for a tweet about, it was about the government, about how it went something like this, Patrick. And I'm trying my best to remember it because I quickly glanced over it yesterday. And it was all it talked about was how kids, how the Nazis became powerful, how I would rat you in is because they had neighbor turn on neighbor.
right.
And that's all she was pretty much saying was that's how a nation, you know, turned, you know, they showed a woman running down the street half naked being chased by little kids with sticks, which was it was a horrible picture.
Hmm.
Okay. But it just showed you how brutal things were. Okay.
Yeah.
And how this poor woman who eventually died was beaten to death because just neighbor upon neighbor, instead of, hey man, you need help, come stay with me, come stay with
Right.
me. Not, okay, Patrick, come stay with me. And then I got on the phone and I go, I got him here.
Right.
I got him here. Go put him in the tanks or whatever you need to do. I mean, uh, uh, I find, and her, like, unless you're in line with other people's politics, and they want you to be, a certain way of thinking, and if you're not in line with that, you're you're canceled,
Yeah.
and that's what happened to her. She was fired, and her agency fired her, and it's just you're just sitting there going, and she was. And here's my thing: if you're a celebrity or you want to be a celebrity, don't tweet anymore.
Yeah. I don't have Twitter.
It's not worth it.
No.
Like it's not worth it. You had a dream job and it cost you. They were looking for any excuse to get rid of you. Stay the hell away off Twitter, man.
It's kind of why I got out of radio too.
Were you having a like
some of the topics that we would talk about, I guess, were too much for people to handle anymore. I'm an open book, so you can ask me pretty much anything. I'm always going to answer honestly, and people probably don't like to hear that a lot. They don't like to hear. They don't like to hear it. Certain people like to hear it. Others ask for it, and then when you hear it, they get offended by it. It's crazy how the truth is like the most sought after thing on this planet, but yet we can't handle it. Nobody wants to be lied to, but everybody wants the truth. And then when you get the truth and whatever it's about, They don't like it. And then they turn their opinion into something that was just told factual to them. They were like, well, I don't believe that. And it's like, yeah, I know it's the number 2 is there though, right? I'm showing you this is 2 and you thought it was 3, and they're still looking at it going, no, I still believe it's 3. I just told you it was 2. You think what you want, you know? That's what it's like. It's like having an argument with somebody that just doesn't want to see it. They don't want to see it. They don't think with an open mind. And they tell them they have their response ready in their head for you.
And I think people do. I think who listens to you, like when you did the show, I think people that work for a living, that go to a job, come home and listen to you, and don't have the time to get on their computer or on their phone and text you and say, I disagree with you. They're busy. My dad worked his ass off. My mom and dad. My dad never took me fishing. This isn't a sob story. The man worked 11 hours a day. Okay. He was exhausted. He put food on the table. Okay. I would love to have gone fishing with my dad and done all these things, but he was exhausted. The pleasures of watching Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with my dad was, to me was the best, watching documentary shows with him. That was the best because he was exhausted. They both were. They were exhausted, man. They were working. So when people say that, they didn't agree with, sure, you're going to have people that don't agree with you, Patrick. But I think the vast majority are scared to say anything anymore. They'll listen, but they're not going to, because they're either going to get ridiculed, made fun of. I've put up a tweet and I was on this show, and I stopped listening to some of the tweets. Some were great tweets, like, hey, great job, blah, 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 you were funny, blah, blah, blah. And then you have other idiots that have, 5 followers that have to say the most, disgusting, stupidest thing about you. And you're kind of like, I understand why people stop reading those, because I'm like, people get off, if I put you down, I guess that makes me feel better that I put you down, right. Instead of just saying, or how about if I don't agree with you, I just don't listen to the show.
Yeah. Or don't make a comment on somebody's posts because they're making their opinion and then yell at them when they come back at you. It's like, well, don't put it up if you can't handle an opinion. It's like, well, you commented, you couldn't handle mine. You couldn't just let it go. You let it go. It's it. You let people have their opinion and don't attack them.
when you had the show, was it kind of like a Jim Rome, kind of like that, like where, like a sports show where you would have,
my show was, mine was just a general topic show. I didn't get into sports until later. And I used to make fun of sports on my show. We used to do segments, we'd make fun. We'd have like different voices. We'd do like Clyde and Tide and making fun of Mike and Mike on ESPN, how they would just baffle back and forth. I used to make fun of sports all the time. But it was just a general topic show. And we would just make fun of it. I was the first to make fun of myself. We would always making fun of ourselves first before we made fun of anybody else. So
right. So you were the reverse of Howard Stern.
It was kind of like informational, but we were still making jabs in between. And we were talking about off topics that most people didn't talk about. My humor is self-deprecating, right? Yeah.
So, because the only person I'm hurting is myself, but I'm making you laugh. That's right. The goal.
Yeah. I put up like pictures. I'd have like a picture, like, like a comic. in front of the behind the brick wall where they have their headshot, and I was like, join me, comedian Toolbag, late nights from It's Always Something. You know what I mean? Be the first to call myself a toolbag, always, and I'm always first to say that I'm the dumbest. So if I'm trying to make somebody realize something and I'm this dumb and I can figure it out, hey, you might want to pay attention because the dumb guy's saying something and he's right.
Right. And you don't necessarily have to agree with the person. So it's great to
just take it in and absorb it.
Yeah. People, and here's my thing. Take it in, but if it's not for you, it's not for you. But there's always something in a conversation that you could always think about and go, I never saw it that way.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Now, people do that, but they do it with kids. You ever notice that? They do it with little kids. When a little kid says something like off the wall, they're like, oh, you know what? I never thought of that. And they're in shock when a little kid says something smart. And I'm like, wait a minute. I never thought about that. It's like, well, pay attention and listen to other people to what they say instead of responding like that. People, like I said, people have a response waiting for you when you're trying to explain something to them that they don't know anything about. I'm trying to enlighten you on something, but say whatever the topic is. Usually it's like some kind of conspiracy or whatever it may be, whatever the topic may be. Let's say a topic that somebody threw at me, not necessarily that I agree with, but I would go, hey, you know what? Somebody told me about flat earth. They thought the world was flat. It's like, well, it was in the Bible. I don't know. I never been up there. What's your point? What are your facts on it? Tell me about it. What do you know that I don't? I listened to his reasons. Some were good points. Some weren't. Disagree to disagree. But here's the thing. Me and you, we never been up there to find out for 100%. So it's all hearsay at that point. But I didn't dismiss it, was my point. Well, I didn't dismiss it right away and go, you know what? You're nuts. They got pictures and satellite pictures. And, that I don't like. I don't like being very dismissive without hearing.
Well, yeah, I had a conversation with a flat earther, and this was a couple of years ago, and I thought he was lying because I never heard of it, right? So I thought he was joking with me, and he was being very serious. And just real quick off topic, I remember I asked him something like, who benefits from this? How do you feel about, hold on. Okay, real quick, let me just, what was I saying? Hold on, somebody chimed in on something here. I'll read it in a second there, Samuel. Felix. Oh, his Popvin's son. We were just talking about how your dad kicked the living crap out of Hex Doll.
It's true. So,
yeah, anyways, with the flat earth guy, I just said, who benefits from this? Like, who's benefits? And he never had an answer. Because, just, anyways, that's a whole new, to me, well,
maybe you gave him some research to go research.
No, they're very, when I was taught anything I brought up, he was very blinders.
Yeah, so you can't be like that because
no, that's what I told him. You can't.
You're trying to talk to another person that's like this, and you got two people going like this to each other. You know what I mean? They just want to talk and try to change their mind. You're not going to change anybody's mind.
Yeah, yeah. So let me see how is Samuel Felix? How was the feedback from MLC? What's that mean? How was the feedback from MLC? What's that mean?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Can you elaborate at all, Felix? What was your feedback from MLC? What is MLC? What's MLC?
I'm trying to figure it out.
I don't know. Well, let me know, Samuel. Maybe he just, I don't know. But yeah, how do you see, like, with the way things are in sports and everything? Like today, they were crapping on Eminem because he was like, "Hey, Brady's my guy," and then people are like, "Don't you know Brady is he's a Trump supporter?" And I'm like, "Oh, here we go." You can't even like somebody. You can't even, and the man never, I looked into it. He just had a MAGA hat in his locker room, and he keeps his politics to himself. He never said, I'm voting for him or anything. It's just having a hat now.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
Oh yeah. I mean, the commercials they even put out there on television. It was kind of like basically threatening Trump supporters. If you like Trump, it's like you're this bad person. So they're trying to depict people.
Yeah,
that's a whole other topic, but that gets me going because I don't see it as much in public as I do online. You don't see it as much in public unless somebody posts a video about it or something. But I have friends that are Democrats that we get along great. We have our opinions and we speak our minds and we get along with our lives. I think the only difference in who's in charge in the country for me is how I'm going to react to it, on how I have to live and maneuver my lifestyle now. That's it, because I can't worry about everybody else and what everybody else thinks. I still got to worry about my life and how it affects me. And that one person it doesn't affect me as much as everybody's saying that it affects them.
Right.
That's just the bottom line. So, I mean, everybody just, go back to their corners, kind of calm down, and give respectable opinions. And
yeah, that's the
thing. I think people are bringing it on themselves.
But Patrick, that's the thing that I find disturbing is that people are not, your opinion doesn't matter anymore.
Well, it doesn't. It shouldn't. I've always said that. My opinion doesn't matter.
No, I mean,
right?
Your opinion. Your opinion is your opinion is not the same as mine. Right. So you're garbage.
No.
I find that wrong.
That's wrong. Absolutely. I was more going towards it's like beating up on yourself again. My opinion doesn't matter, neither does yours. That's where it's at. Like, we're on equal. Either it matters or it doesn't.
Right.
You got to be on the same page, but one can't outweigh the other. And it seems to be one is outweighing the other. People have done the impossible and turned somebody's opinion into a factual wrong, which is very hard to do, but they've managed to do it. No, just like that smug attitude. It's baffling. And I find it on the internet. So I've tended to stay off social media.
I go on social media because I enjoy pain and suffering. So
there's great material there, though.
There is, but it's
Can't use it,
though. It's very it can be very depressing because you're thinking, you think people would grow or learn, and it's like, no, man, they're not. They're going backwards. Instead of critical thinking, where you could just think common sense and stop.
I want to know this. I want to know when somebody has ever changed their mind after being insulted. So if I make a comment on something, somebody insults me, and I'm going, "Oh man, you know what? That insult got me. I am wrong. I am an a-hole. Thanks, guy. You changed my mind. I'm now an a-hole. I agree with you."
It's all ad hominem attacks. That's all it is. It turns into, you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot.
That's I hate the first. You. Yeah, right. That's the first thing out of people's mouths anymore is, could there be a bigger, stupider comment?
But you know what absolutely doesn't help at all? As soon as you're called a racist or a Nazi, because that word at one time was the word. Like, if you called somebody a Nazi or a racist, you were racist. That is the worst thing you could call somebody.
Yep.
Well, now, because it's used every second sentence, it's lost its luster.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's not where it was like, oh wow, now it's it's way way down here now, and it doesn't have the same punch. When I was a kid, you called somebody a Nazi, you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know, you were
Exactly.
like, what did the guy do? What
Right.
did he, how did this happen? And you find out. But now, if we're talking away, and I brought up about that guy talking about, hey, it's only white guys getting jobs. You said, Vito, you're a racist.
Yeah.
You killed the conversation right then and there.
Yeah.
There's no conversation anymore. We're done.
Yep.
And I think that is the stupidest way to talk to anybody. If I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you. But you're a Philly, uh, 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 fan. That's your team. They're not my team. You're not a Toronto fan, but we love watching them play each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when if one wins, we love them a little more.
Yeah. Right.
But it's not like if I saw you, we're going to we're late for a game, and I see you in a jersey, and there's one cab, and I'm like, we got to go to the Gardens, and there's an extra seat. I'm like, hey, you got you're going to be late for the game. Yeah, man. Hop in. I hate you. Come on, let's go.
Right.
We run to the game and have a laugh. I'm going to beat you tonight. No, man. There's no way you're going to beat me. We'll see. See. And then who's going to get the tip here? Who's going to get the tip? Hurry up with the tip.
Yeah.
And then we run and watch the game. You take off where you go. You take off where you go. And then when I talk to when I come back home, I'm going to say, yeah, I met a guy. It was a Philly guy, and we just went to the game. He went to his game. We shared a cab together.
Right.
He wasn't my mortal enemy.
Right. And there's so many stories out there like that, but they're not shared, though. They're not shared. There needs to be more of them, though.
Yeah, and to me, that is the dumbest thing in the world. Is not sharing those stories, because I always get a kick out of those stories.
Yeah.
There was this beautiful story of. Do you remember? He was the Leaf coach, Pat Quinn.
Yeah.
And Pat Quinn crushed a player up against the boards. Big Pat Quinn. And man, they wanted to murder him. They wanted to murder him. A lot of people don't know after the game. Him and the other player went out for drinks after, because Pat felt bad for crushing him.
Right.
Like, people don't get it. They're playing a game. If you see me with my head down like an idiot, not looking at the puck, and you hit me, you actually did me a favor, because next time I'm going to keep my head up.
Or get rid of the puck.
Or know who's on the ice, right?
Yeah.
That's just common sense. So you're actually helping me become a better player.
Yeah.
Okay. Unless it's Lindros who got crushed, then you don't. You actually become a worse player after Stevens.
Right.
Stevens crushed so many guys. But do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Okay. In closing, how do you think the NHL? Do you think the Leafs are going to win the Cup this year? Yes or no?
No.
Son of a.
You think the Flyers are going to win?
Yeah, hey man, if you get into this is how crazy the bubble is.
It is.
Okay. The thing is that I don't like about the bubble is Toronto's playing teams. The only guys that are really going to give them trouble is Montreal and Winnipeg. Okay, so you've got those two that they're going to make the playoffs. Okay, my problem is when they do make the playoffs. Okay, you don't know what Boston is a powerful team, and so is Philly. Okay, and so are so many other teams. Even the Islanders.
They look good in the last few years.
Yeah, they've got a tough team, and guess what? The Bolts are not in Toronto's division anymore, and neither is Boston. So you've got those two top teams where Toronto had to deal with are not going to, you're not dealing with them until you get the playoffs. Here's the thing. Once you get in the playoffs, you're going up against a totally different animal than what you were going up against Montreal and the Jets. Okay, you're going up against a team that you could watch as many tapes as you want, but if you play them, 3 or 4 times a year, you kind of have an idea of how they are against you, right? You kind of you have that where they don't. So I think it's going to be a sticker shock for a lot of teams. I hope Toronto doesn't get too stunned, because if Boston comes out flying and it wins the first 2 games, they're out of the playoffs. There's no way. And people go, why do you say that? Don't you have confidence with that team? Dude, I've been watching that team since 1977. Okay? All right? I know my team. Okay?
Poor Toronto. It's just as bad as Philly, though,
Philly won a cup, though. Hey, they won a cup. What was it? 70
back to back, but I wasn't around.
It was 73, I think they won a cup.
Who, Toronto?
No, Philly. Philly won a cup. When was the last time Philly won
75, 76.
75, 76, yeah.
And then,
Yeah, so at least Toronto won a cup in 1967. We were talking 54 years ago, dude. Like, that's bad.
Not, yeah, that's a while. That's a long time.
That's a long time, man.
Yeah.
Even Moses, he's like, hey, come on, dude. Like, that is, they've really, I really hope that they turn it around, because they've got some great players, but I wish they picked up better defense, stronger defense.
When was the last time they won a cup? What year?
1967.
Wow.
When my dad came to this country, they won the cup, and my dad thought...
That's when we came into the league.
Yeah.
We just got into the league when the last time you won a cup.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, when my dad came to Canada, he remembers, like in Toronto, he goes, so this Toronto, he's a football fan, right? Soccer. They call it football, calcio in Italian, right? Kick. So he watched it, and he goes, oh, wow, so this Toronto team is always going to win a cup every year. Yeah, that's what he thought.
Wow. And
they've just, dude, it's been nothing but, I feel like me and, the Bills, that the city of we got the Raptors did win last year, but I'm not a basketball fan because I'm a short Italian guy. So when I see 6'7", 7-foot black guys, I think of them as giants. It does nothing for me. So it's not my game. So I'm hoping that Toronto at least, does well, and it doesn't have that sticker shock where they go up against a team and completely fall apart. What's your take on Phil? I mean, you guys got a killer mascot. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Philly's got some good mascots. Gritty, he's all right. He's a little goofy.
Yeah, he is funny.
He's goofy, man. He's a little nutty. I like his eyes. He's a little crazy. I didn't like him at first, but
no, I first time I saw him, I said, that guy's a comedian.
Yeah.
Mike, man, he is funny. I'm sorry, but he cracks me up.
I still like the Fanatic better.
The Fanatic?
The Phillies mascot.
Oh, okay. I don't know that one is.
You don't ever seen the Fanatic?
No, let me look at this.
Oh, man. Philly Fanatic's crazy. Look it up. So look at him up like in the 80s and early 90s. He was great. Oh, another Toronto moment that I didn't like in history is 1993.
Yeah, I was there. Oh, dude, do you ever see my interview with? Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Joe
Yeah,
Carter smacked one. Yeah,
yeah, but
dramatic's crazy.
I don't care about that. I thought you meant the Leaf game.
Oh no,
When
no.
they see there was a girl that the girl that bought me this here. We broke up at a time and we were just getting back together. And she says, if Toronto wins tonight, we're doing it in the parking lot. And I told Doug Gilmore that story, and he gave me a big hug. It was awesome. I was just like, I never watched a game. Like, it was like I had a grand on that game going, come on, just go, come on, just win this game, just this one game. So, yeah, that was a great memory, and a great memory in the parking lot that I think about. I watch the wife. So, how do you think, in closing, how do you think sports is going to go?
I think it'll bounce back, but I think it's going to continue to decline a little bit until things settle down. I think it'll bounce back, especially once crowds too start going back to the games.
Yeah, well, that's the thing I didn't understand. In football, they had some people, but in hockey, they have nobody.
Yeah.
Well, why is that? I don't understand that part of it.
I'm just guessing. I guess because it's outside and they're in a bigger venue, you could probably squeeze in more people.
Right.
As to inside, you're still closed. Everything's closed quarters.
Yeah, but if we're at a game, Patrick, and I need to go to the bathroom, I gotta, you know how the seats are. I gotta brush up against you to get to I gotta go, excuse me, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't understand that point. I guess people at the Super Bowl were inoculated, right? Like they were all, like they were nurses and people that were, which is really cool. So they got their shot, but I understand that you need 2 shots after 14 days or something. So I don't know how that worked out, but yeah, it was just really weird. Like in hockey, no fans, which I think help the Leafs.
Yeah.
I do. I think when you're out there, you're playing, you don't hear anybody.
Yeah.
I think you're in your own, instead of somebody yelling out, you suck,
or shoot. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know to shoot the puck. Thank you.
Yeah. I love that in a power play. So shoot, like, and my wife always yells at me, like, they can't hear you, but everybody, the neighborhood could hear you, right. but no, they can't hear you at the game. And I'm like, I am in one. I am in one with Johnny Toronto there.
Yes.
So how do you think Philly's going to do? Do you think they're going to go far in the playoffs?
I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they go into the second round again.
And who do you think will take them out?
I don't know.
Like, who do you think?
Maybe the Islanders again. The Islanders stepped it up. They looked really good.
Yeah, but who like, you think if they go up against the Islanders they would lose? Philly's got a strong team.
Yeah, they do. But every time I say they have a strong team and I put my confidence in them, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna go. They just fall apart. Like mid-season, they'll start off great. They start off good.
Right.
Except for later. No, they've been starting off good. But prior to that, we've had like a really bad 7 years of just garbage. It's just, we really haven't. I'm not too happy with this team. I'm not happy with Giroux. Giroux's still on the team. He should have been gone a long time ago. We could have got so many better players for him.
Well, Giroux.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
No, he's not productive at all anymore.
No?
No. He hasn't been for a while. I mean, a long time.
What about the goalie situation, though?
I love the goalie situation. We got Carter Hart.
Yeah, he's been doing awesome.
Yeah, he's young, so he's just really starting to develop. So we look forward to that. That's going to be awesome. We don't have to worry about a goalie, which we always had a goalie issue. in Philly. Always. Just always had an issue.
I think the days of seeing a $10 million goalie are gone. Like they're not.
Or Ryan Miller.
Do me a favor when you have free time, look up 1970 games and watch what the goalies were wearing.
Oh, I know.
Isn't that nuts?
Oh yeah.
Like, and there's a reason why Gretzky got to 92 goals or something in one season.
Yeah.
I mean, the goalies were anorexic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
and then it's an interesting time when Gretzky came in because so much things were changing where hockey players were becoming better. Passes were becoming faster. Shots were becoming harder and players were skating faster.
Yeah.
That was the time where it really picked up in that Gretzky era. And when you see the goalie transformation to where they had the stack pads, you know, they had the neck protectors come in. They never wore the neck protectors. Once you saw the neck protectors come in, that's when goalies started padding up and getting thicker.
Yeah. Because the shots were
getting harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually it led to the net. It led to the netting behind the glass. Now you look at that and you go, how the hell did we ever not have a net behind the glass?
Do you know why that happened, that net?
Yeah.
A girl died.
Yeah.
She got hit in the head with a puck.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a game. A buddy of mine had golds, which are and it was almost right behind the net. So the net would be right here or right here. And I told him, I go, Brett Hull does not have the hardest shot in the league. And I'd see Brett Hull and I'd just go, Hull, you suck. And he took a slap shot and he broke the glass in front of me.
Man, that's awesome.
And my buddy goes, would you shut up? You know?
Yeah.
I remember going, man, that guy's got a bullet. You know?
Yeah.
He did. He had a bullet.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you for your time, Patrick.
Hey, no problem.
It was awesome. And we got to do another one, but the topic will just be about how, if they get into like sports,
yes.
like not political stuff, unless you want to. But if you want to talk about sports and how teams are stacking, how the playoffs are starting, by all means. Goodbye, Mr. D'Amico. Hey, Spooky, thank you so much, and thanks for the 100,000.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to. No, it's 1 million. Oh my God! Thanks, Spooky.
Yeah, man. I'm good to go.
And he said goodbye to you too.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Spooky bed hair. I wonder if it's a girl. I will never know. All right. So, yeah, next time we'll talk about playoffs and if they get out of the bubble, how that'll go. Okay?
Awesome.
We'll see if, how the playoff games start. Okay?
Sounds good, Vito.
Okay. Listen, thank you so much, Patrick. It was very nice of you to do this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's fun.
And it's a girl. You're a guy. I'm sorry. Spooky's a guy. He's a bloke, so he must be from the UK. He's a bloke. Thanks, Spooky. Appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you, Patrick. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
You got it.
All right. Ciao. Be safe.
Ciao.